terrorism financing. But before diving deep into our video today, just make sure to subscribe to our channel so you will get notified with all new videos. Terrorism financing. It's a serious and complex issue that threatens the safety and security of people around the world all the time. It is the act of providing funds or financial support to individuals or organizations that engage in terrorism. The support and the funding can take many forms, including the provision of money, weapons, goods, instruments, and other resources. Combating terrorism financing is an important part of international efforts to combat terrorism and keep communities safe. But where do terrorists get their money from? Unfortunately, there are many sources of funding for terrorism, including criminal activities like drug trafficking, human smuggling, and extortion. Some terrorists even receive funding from legitimate businesses or charitable organizations. Despite the various sources of funding, there is a common thread that connects them all: the desire to spread fear and violence. So, how can we combat terrorism financing? One effective method is to disrupt the financial networks that support terrorism. This can be done through measures such as freezing assets, cutting off financial support, and disrupting the flow of money to terrorists. Another important aspect of combating terrorism financing is increasing awareness and understanding of the issue. By educating the public about the dangers of terrorism financing and the methods used by terrorists to obtain funding, we can make it more difficult for them to operate. There are several international organizations that work to combat terrorism financing. One of the key players is the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, an intergovernmental organization that develops and promotes policies to combat money laundering and terrorism financing. The FATF maintains a list of countries that are considered to have inadequate controls over terrorism financing, and it works with these countries to help them improve their policies and practices. In addition to the FATF, there are other organizations that work to combat terrorism financing. The United Nations, UN, has a number of committees and programs that address this issue, including the Counter-Terrorism Committee and the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, UNOD. The UN also works with member states to help them implement effective measures to combat terrorism financing. In order to mitigate these risks, it is important for companies to have robust compliance programs in place to ensure that they are not inadvertently supporting terrorism financing. This may include measures such as conducting thorough due diligence on customers and partners, implementing internal controls to prevent illicit transactions, and training employees on how to identify and report suspicious activity. Companies that deal with individuals or entities that are listed on terror lists may face significant harms, including financial penalties and other sanctions, as well as reputational damage and legal liability. To mitigate these risks, it is important for companies to have robust compliance programs in place. In conclusion, terrorism financing is a serious and complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach to combat. By disrupting financial networks, increasing awareness, and working together, we can make a difference in the fight against terrorism. The harms that companies may face when dealing with individuals or entities that are listed on terror lists can be significant. Companies may be subject to financial penalties and other sanctions if they engage in transactions with these individuals or entities. They may also face reputational damage and legal liability if they are found to have knowingly or unknowingly supported terrorism financing. Thank you for watching and hope that you get a clear explanation. See you soon.